Hello, guys. We are getting ready. We are getting ready. Yes, yes. Thank you so much. We'll just expect the rest of the people to join. Um, we still have a lot of people. We still have a lot of people that should join. Um, yeah, thank you. We only have 3 people that have connected. We still have about 29. Okay, yeah, that's me, and 3 more. Yeah, we still have a lot of people that we are waiting for. Let's see. Yes, yes, we are 4. Yes, yes, yes. Prof, welcome, sir. Yes, good evening, good evening. They can hear you, Prof. Everybody can hear you. Yes, we are still waiting for more people. Yes, we are still waiting for more people. Thank you, King Med. Thank you so much. Yes, so short notice you were able to make it. Thank you, guys. We are still expecting more people to join. Um, very well, very well. Thank you so much for joining, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes, we still have a lot of people though that are still wanting to come in. Um, yes, we still have a lot of people. I'm sure they are going to join us. I know it's 12 now. Let's just wait and see. Okay, I just got a message. Some other people sent messages that they are going to be joining soon. Yeah, that they are going to be joining soon. All right, so yes, so welcome, guys. We are going to be starting off now, and my lecture. Yes, I'll be the first speaker here, delivering the lecture for the first 15 minutes. And we have Professor Richard Wokocha with support for 10 minutes. And my brother Chibuzo Diallo would speak after Professor Wokocha for 10 minutes. And then we'll have 20 minutes for questions. And I will do a conclusion 5 minutes after the lecture. So I'll run through that again. My lecture is going to be for 15 minutes. After that, Professor Wokocha would speak for 10 minutes. My brother Chibuzo will speak for 10 minutes. And then we'll leave the floor open for 10 minutes, for 20 minutes actually, for people to ask questions. And then we will conclude another 5 minutes, and that's our 60 minutes right there. So we're going to start. I welcome everybody that have signed up. I appreciate you for coming on. This is actually our first inaugural lecture from the Global African Renaissance Community. And we intend to have these lectures every quarter, so that way we all can educate ourselves. Long time ago, one of my professors told me that he's not a big cup pouring water in a small cup. So the way we operate here in our community, the Global Renaissance community, even though we have the very erudite Professor Richard Nwokocha here, who is the only person that is a big cup, and the rest of us are small cups. But in the community, we will learn from each other. We all will learn from each other. I hope my network is good. I hope you guys can hear me. But you don't have to worry. Yes, you don't have to worry too much, because I will be posting a text version of the lecture in our group, so anybody can have access to it, and then you can read through and ask questions at that time. So again, hey, welcome, my brother. Welcome to the lecture. We appreciate you for coming in. So what I would advise is, if everybody can mute their phones, you can mute your phones, so that way, whenever you do have questions, you can unmute your phone, and then we go from there where you can ask your questions. So for now, we would go with the lecture, while everybody should please mute their phone, so that way we are not hearing too much of the background noise there. All right, so title of the lecture again is Why God Cannot Solve Africa's Problems. The issue here is a lot of people had major problems with that, because I do understand a single sentence narrative in Nigeria right now: what God cannot do does not exist. So this is pretty much contradicting that statement, that what God cannot do does not exist. So if you have Dr. Ahigbe saying that, well, there is one thing that God cannot do, which is solve Africa's problems, you know that Dr. Ahigbe is going to be in problems with the rest of Nigeria. Not all of Nigeria, but majority of Nigeria, that believe what God cannot do does not exist. So first of all, I want to define the terms involved in the subject matter of this lecture. How do we define God? Three-letter word that is huge in our lives: God. We will call him a prime mover. A prime mover meaning he set the universe in place. He was the originator. He doesn't have an origin. He's a prime mover. He's omnipotent, which means he's all powerful, omniscient, all knowledgeable, omnipresent. He's everywhere at the same time. So that pretty much sums up who God is. And then the other word in this lecture is Africa. What is Africa? Africa, it's a continent. It's the second largest continent, with a population of 1.3 billion people, with a median age of 19 compared to the rest of the world that is at 31. So Africa pretty much is, is full of young people with a median age of 19. And it has a GDP of $2.8 trillion. You would not also believe that majority of Africans are Christians at 49%, and Islam at 42%, and African traditional religion practitioners at 8%, and the others at 1%. And then the third word here in my lecture title is problem. What is a problem? A problem is a matter or situation regarded as unwelcome or harmful and needing to be dealt with and overcome. So a problem is a situation that continents, countries, human beings, companies, whatever, find themselves that they do not like. It's unwelcoming, it is harmful, and there is an urgency to deal with such a problem and overcome it. So for the purpose of this lecture, I'll be looking at a Christian God, actually, because majority of Africans are Christians. So we're going to be analyzing this issue that God cannot solve Africa's problems from a Christian God standpoint. Yahweh, Jehovah, just different names that is ascribed to him. Because, like I said, majority of Africans are Christians. So if there was a God that the African is waiting for to resolve her problems, it will be a Christian God. Now that we have defined problems as situations that needs to be dealt with and overcome, I will tackle why I am presenting a lecture stating categorically that a God, whether a Christian God or a non-Christian God, cannot overcome Africa's unwelcome situation. Again, like I said, this is contrary to what most Nigerians, southern Nigerians, have been exposed to, saying that what God cannot do does not exist. So let us dive in. What are these problems? What are the problems of Africa? Some of the problems include insecurity, poverty, corruption, hunger, illiteracy, poor infrastructure, and above all, bad leadership. So these are some of the problems that Africa and African countries and Africans, have. These problems, like I said, are unwelcome and they are harmful. So these problems, to most, look convoluted, looks complex, it looks unsurmountable. They look like, man, we can't just solve this problem. It seemed like something only a transcended magisterial that sits at the apogee of the cosmos can solve. It seemed like, whether it's Obasanjo, Buhari trying to solve our problems, Awolowo, Muritala Mohammed, Ahmadu Bello, the Sultana, it seems these problems are unsurmountable. And guess what? Year after year, day after day, months after months, decades after decades, the problems keep getting bigger. So I would understand why a lot of Africans, a lot of Nigerians will feel, you know what? We just can't solve this problem. We might as well leave it to God to solve the problem. So, but I'll tell you, somebody gave us an idea of how society can solve her problems. And one of the ideas of how society can solve her problem was given to us by Ronald Reagan. By Ronald Reagan, one of the American presidents. In a speech in support of Barry Goldwater in 1964, Reagan said, only Americans can solve America's problem. Guys, listen to that. Ronald Reagan said, in the support of Barry Goldwater, 1964, he said, only Americans can solve America's problem. This he reiterated in 1981 in his inaugural speech. He still said it. He said, from his experience, only Americans can solve America's problem. So I know I do have professors here. I have PhD holders. I have highly educated people here. I'm sure you're already running through what I just said and saying, well, I guess you're trying to say only Nigerians can solve Nigeria's problem. And we all know America is actually solving their problem, and they have solved several problems. So I dare to say a problem can only be solved by a people or person going through that problem. The best equipped person to solve a problem is the person in the problem. Some of you might wonder and say, well, that is not correct. If a patient is sick, the patient can't solve their problem. They have to go to see a doctor, but you're making a mistake. The first step is for that patient to recognize who can solve their problem, and then they go to the doctor. So if they were having a stomach ache and they were thinking an electrician is the one that will solve their problem, then you can see it's going to be an issue. So a people going through a problem, a country going through a problem can only be solved by her citizens or the person. Hence, the belief that a God can solve Africa's problem is practically impossible, and it is not plausible. It is not, because guess what? God is not passing through that problem. From what Ronald Reagan said, he said, whoever is going through that problem is the person to solve it. And that's why he said in 1964 that only Americans can solve America's problems. So to buttress this point, guys, I will give a historical position of 4 countries that faced problems in the 18th and 20th centuries. These were countries that went through a lot, and we would from there see how they were able to solve their problem. We can, from their experience, deduce how Africa can solve her problems if she comes up with the courage to do so and not rely on an agency that pretty much dwells in the realm of speculation. It really dwells in the realm of speculation because there is no objectivity to it for us to be waiting for God to solve our problems. So the first country I'll talk about is America, that was under the jackboot of Great Britain. The problem they faced was colonialism. They were under the colonial government of Great Britain, a system of domination and oppression that needed to be overcome. Instead of praying, they planned and organized, and everybody knows what happened. The rest is history. They were able to solve their problems. I don't have a lot of time here. It's already 12:15, but I'm going to run through it so that way we can hear from our erudite Professor Richard Wonkocha. Another country that went through... Yeah, welcome, guys. Please mute your phone. Mute your phone. Okay, very good. Welcome, sir. Please mute your phone. Welcome. Please mute your phone. I apologize. Please mute your phone. I appreciate it. Mute your phone, please. Please mute your phone. So another country is Germany. Germany was carpet bombed by the Allies in 1945. They faced a problem of infrastructure. They also did not pray. They worked hard. That by 1972, which is 27 years later, they had rebuilt Germany back to a first world country. And then they hosted the Olympics in Munich in 1972. And the third country I would like to talk about is Turkey. Turkey, a country that was the remnant of the Ottoman Empire. They also were broken with numerous problems. But the vision of one man, Mustafa Kemal, he revolutionized that country and turned it into a first world country. And finally, we will talk about China. China was a country with a long history of poverty, even cannibalism. They lost 50 million people from famine. They were so hungry, 50 million people died. That's the same number of people that died in the Second World War. 50 million. Only China lost that many. But guess what, guys? They achieved world status in our lifetime through the ideology of Deng Xiaoping, the premier of China. So you can see clearly that for a country to overcome her numerous problems, it takes the people to realize they hold the answer. They hold the answer and must not outsource the solution to a cosmic magisterial. That, like in the case of Germany, they need to work hard. Like Turkey, they need reform and modernity. And finally, like in the case of China, a visionary leader with a clear ideology. So for Africa to solve her problems, this is how to solve her problems. She needs her people. She needs the median age 19 years old people, her 1.3 billion people. She needs courage and hard work. She also needs reforms and a visionary leader with a clear ideology of where he wants us to go as a society. So finally, in conclusion, I will ask the audience to help me with a single country where we saw a cosmic being come down from the cosmos to rescue them. I will say there is none, except, someone else has a different answer. We have seen throughout history where a people relied on the cosmic Messiah to come and rescue them. And we know that that never happened. You might wonder, who was this group of people? The Jews. They waited for a political savior. They waited and waited for a political savior that would save them from imperial Rome. But he never came. Another group of people were the Mayans. The Mayans in Latin America. The Mayans sacrificed their children to appease a god to help save them from the Spaniards who had come to conquer them. But he never intervened. And then finally, in modern times, the Ayatollah of Iran. The Ayatollah, he told Israel, he told the whole world that he's going to have divine victory. That God was going to overcome their enemy, Israel. Your guess is as good as mine. Who is winning that war in the Middle East? So I dare to say, guys, whether personal or a continental problem, problems can only be solved by the people or that continent that is going through that problem. There is no divine intervention. Divine interventions only happen in the holy books, never in real life. So you can see I have been able to enumerate to let you know about several countries that are going through problems of leadership, infrastructure, poverty, illiteracy, and all kinds of problems. And we can see historically how they solve their problems. So that is all I have for you. I was able to use up 20 minutes. And I'm going to defer to my erudite professor, Richard Nwokocha, law professor, constitutional law, Rivers State University of Science and Technology, a great scholar, to support my position that God cannot solve Africa's problems. I defer to Professor Richard Nwokocha. Yay! It's your turn, Prof. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you and good evening, gentlemen. Doc, thanks for your presentation. From my professional perspective, religion is classified as private law. That means that it's not a public issue. And so it's not the business of the public to make policies on religion, except policies that guarantees everybody's freedom to believe in whatever he believes. lives and a reasonable private space to practice what his religious belief is. And so it is legally, officially, not public policy issue and not public business, but private. I like to think that jurisprudentially, when we speak jurisprudentially, we are talking about the philosophy behind policies. Jurisprudentially, it is the fact that a person's internal cohesion depends on his thinking system, and what one man may rely on may be different from what another will rely on. And so for our internal cohesion and our internal stability, we are allowed the freedom to rely on whatever line of thought enables us to function in accordance with society's norms. The primary purpose is be the best you can, you are, but you must comply with the public law, with the law of the society in which you exist. Like every Nigerian, I am born into a society in which I was Christian when I was less than 1 year old. And I went to church like everybody in my society, and we have all taken one title or the other, if nothing else. As you grow older, you become an elder of some sort. I've gone through that. But my experience this year, my experience has shown and proved to me the theme of this seminar or lecture, which is that problems are physical and practical and can only be solved by practical solutions, not spiritual solutions. What can spirit do for us? Perhaps our spirituality will enable us to think and be logical and moralistic, or at least clear in our thinking on how to address issues and address others. And in being fair in our thinking and in our action, we help to build an ordered society that will be consistent with the law. So I have asked myself over time simple questions like, what is our spiritual origin? The spiritual thinking of my society now is the thinking that Doc used in his lecture, which is the Judeo-Christian thinking, or the Christian idea of God. I'm looking at the definition of terms. And that is very different from my people's original and initial spiritual belief system. My people believed in a spiritual system that descends from God. That God is different from the Judeo-Christian God. From God to your ancestors, to your parents, through your father to you, and you are part of the ancestors. If you walk right in the belief system of my people, you become an ancestor. But if you end up as a very bad person that society classified as bad, you don't become an ancestor and you don't reincarnate. And so their belief system is based on morality, based on right thinking, based on doing the proper thing. It was practical, it was not pluralistic. There was no days of worship where the entire community will come together and worship the Almighty God. But every man operated on the basis of the spiritual rules. It's perhaps a bit like the Egyptian art system, where you had the 42 laws of Math, 42 negative confessions that everybody must make every day to guide himself spiritually. And so you got up in the morning and you bent your hand to the sun and to the gods to show that you have not done anything wrong. You progress through the day, ensuring that you did the right thing and that you don't offend another person, or you don't take what is yours and all of that. And in doing so, our society was ordered and organized. When the colonialists first arrived in Africa, they marveled at how orderly the place was. They marveled at the fact that we did not have people who were so poor they could not eat and all of that. The simple math is that everybody did his farm. Everybody's farm guaranteed what he will eat the next year. There was time for leisure during the festivals, but however useless you are, whether you are a drunk or anything, you had to go to farm, you had to till your farms, you had to ensure that you have your food for next year. That next year you will do another farm which will guarantee the next year. So nobody was in such level of poverty that society had to look for IDP camps and all of that to take care of displaced people. We were organized and we were highly effective. So our spirituality guided our individual conduct and enabled us to do the right things that were both right for us, right towards God and right towards society. It ended with the rules and policies of the society, where everybody must make certain sacrifices to ensure that we all collectively exist and that we are all collectively protected in society. Now, global experience, as Doc has also tried to show, has shown that nations rise and fall according to their policies. Economies rise and fall according to public policies, governmental policies, not according to belief system or beliefs of the people. A country that carries out the right policies creates an economic environment in which anybody who strives will succeed. At least majority of them will succeed. A society that organizes itself so well that there is room and space for everybody, and there is always room for everybody under the skies, that society is most likely to experience less of poverty, hunger, and all the things we experience in Africa. Now, Doc has given us 4 examples of societies that transformed from serious problems into organized societies where problems were solved. It is no different from one society to the other. Wherever you see progress, there are good public policies that ensures that every citizen is guaranteed the space to achieve his ultimate best and to attain his best. If you don't formulate those policies, you won't have the national progress that we are looking for in Africa. So for me, global experience shows that progress moves with people developing practical answers to their problems. They come from very bad situations into organized and progressive societies. While those who don't do so go down every day and they descend into worse situations as we appear to have progressively done in Africa. In my village, growing up, everybody found what he ate. Everybody bought very little. Salt, which we don't produce in my society, fish was from the ponds, animal came from either animal husbandry or hunting and all of that. Medication was what we had to buy with money, pay children's school fee and things like that. But today, as we speak, people coming from the village and say, brother, we are dying of hunger. Please help us, send money. And I asked them, if you are dying of hunger in the place I grew up where we had no problem with hunger and poverty, what do you expect of those of us who are in the city who have to buy everything with money? So I think the madness we have experienced is that we have forgotten who we are. We have abandoned our way of life and the way to survive, which is what every other organized society does. America's budgeting and the budgeting of other countries are not dependent on some religious belief. They secure their farmers, secure their market, try to return market for their farmers to sell or for their producers to sell, make more profit, pay tax to government to take government deals with public issues. It is not different anywhere else. So I think that progress does not follow belief and spirituality. Progress follows practical solutions prepared and applied to solve practical problems. All human problems are physical, they are practical. You either deal with them or you die. You have typhoid, you either take typhoid treatment, whether it's conventional or it is native. You either take typhoid treatment or you die. But if you do the right thing, you take the right steps, it's most likely that you will survive than die. Finally, I am a teacher, and I like to use that example. The most believing student who does not read his or her book will most certainly fail. No spirituality will bring some magic into your brain to enable you write the right answers to the questions that are posed. Now, the most unbelieving student who reads the book responsibly our issues are critical, they are practical. Apply the right solution, you will pass. China does not believe in our God, they are making progress. India does not believe in our God, they are making progress. Israel does not believe in our God. Very often we don't remember that. We have the concept of an almighty who rules the entire earth or the universe. Israel believes in their national God, the God of Israel. They do not share that God with you. Even though you say you are a Jew or you say you are a Christian, it does not make you one of the people of their God. Their concept of God is a national God. That is the same with a lot of the big systems. So you are a Muslim, you have a Muslim God, you have a Christian God. That's why we can attack each other and kill each other. Because if we had an understanding at least of the God that we are all loyal to, we would consider ourselves brothers and we will not fight and kill each other. So finally for me, on a concluding note, problems are practical, they are physical. Any society that provides practical and physical solutions to their problems get them solved. As Box, for example, has illustrated. Any society that lives into a magisterial or an almighty being somewhere, some white man in the sky with graveyards, will remain either enslaved or in poverty. So I think that human problems, physical, African problems, are typical where rigorous thinking, physical and practical solutions that will build into government policies that will help us to solve our problems. Solution will not depend from the sky. Thank you very much. I believe I extended my time. I apologize.
No problem, Professor. Thank you, Prof. We appreciate you. That was very, very insightful and very enlightening. Thank you, Prof. Yes. I'm sorry, Prof. Thank you, Prof. Thank you. Yes, that was very enlightening. I really appreciate. I believe somebody just joined us. If you can mute your phone, please mute your phone. It seems it's my young man in glasses with the headphone. Please mute your phone. Welcome, but please mute your phone so we can hear very well. Please mute your phone. Please mute your phones. Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate that. Thank you for muting your phone. The next speaker is going to be my brother Chibuzo from the Faculty of Arts and from a school affiliated to the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. He's a veteran. It's a veteran of reason. He's a veteran that tries to get everybody on our side because we have a side, guys. That he tries to get a lot of people on our side. In fact, he was out there evangelizing for this lecture, trying to get his students, trying to get a lot of people on board. So I want to very greatly welcome my brother and my friend Chibuzo. Thank you. All right, Chibuzo, it's your turn, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Greetings, house. Greetings, everybody. I am Chibuzo Udalo and MM. This is college education in Nsukka. It is an affiliate institution to UNN. So today we are looking at the way forward for Africa. Our topic today is how or why God cannot solve Africa's problems. Why God cannot solve Africa's problems. This topic is, I think, a round peg in a round hole. That is, it's an absolutely convincing topic, a topic that makes sense. Because one of the problems, or one of the challenges facing our society today is religious indoctrination. And these religions are not even autonomous, as in these religions that were brought in by the conquering whites and Arabs by way of Judaism, that is Islam, Christianity, by way of Abrahamism, that is Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. These religions, I think, they are systematically put in place to keep Africa where it is. So if Africa must rise, Africa must bypass the asphyxia coming from these spirits. The concept of God as a notion, God as a notion, as a concept, is not totally a bad thing. But in my view, that God has to be autochthonous, that is, it has to be the God of the people. It's not actually a bad idea to have God. The only problem is that the concept of God, as we have today in our society in Africa, has been placed by way of travesty. That is, our colonialists have made a travesty of God to the extent that we are programmed that everything we need, we have to go to God. If you want to write an exam, you pray. If you want to marry a wife, you pray. If you want to look for admission in the university, you pray. In fact, everything you pray. We are told that prayer is the master key. Prayer is the master key. That's some. So if Africa must rise, if Africa must rise, Africa must pass. The swallow of Western civilization. If Africa must rise, Africa must bypass the squalor of Western civilization and the squalor of Arab civilization too. What I mean by squalor in this two instances have to do with religion. Some these religions. They are valid in their clans. So what we need is reason. From this of that is what it's don't participate in radical or revolutionary movements as you are doing now. We allow basic brigandage. We allow locality. That's what we do. If we think and run back home and make for a renaissance, think about total turnaround. Call on Africans to rise increase that we are watching here by the let us go back to our roots, especially aspects of our roots. Igbo language that Akajaja. Yes, in Igbo. Does this Akajaja? That is mean that nothing comes from nothing. That is for you to enjoy life, you have to work hard. And working hard in this case does not come from praying and fasting. Praying and fasting cannot cure malaria. In fact, problems of Africa. That is religion or religion of God for peace. I will take that the concept of God. The other problem with that concept is that we abuse God. We Africans. You know, confess. Confess. With what have us with reading, observation, experience, common sense, to know what's right, to do the right thing. Then, man should learn not to abuse God, to learn introspective, or rather, Africans have to be introspective. Africans have to change in other places. Africans have done, Americans have done, as the Chinese have done, and the Japanese. Look at the recent war between Israel and Iran. Meanwhile, it is reported that, or rather, it is alleged that Israel originated from Israel. It's not true. Not my big propaganda. The white man is using his trade. I'm told that Christianity originated from Israel. Jesus Christ was born in Bethlehem and all that. Look at the war between Israel. Israel never depended on the word of Israel. Never depended on Yahweh. Israel never prayed for one event. Some of them live. We saw so being put in place. We never saw Israel rebellion. We never saw rebellion or Persian God or whatever you may call it. Iran is a Muslim country. If Iran has not bypassed Israel, would have swallowed Iran. That is, Iran is not in the by bypass. Only that renaissance for a society to be free. Iran has embraced science and technology. Iran has embraced Iran has looked which Israel attacked them. They did not fall on it. Retaliated. So, in a way, the concept of God in another sense, but that's less, the concept of God in another sense, maybe in a figurative sense, is parallel to that of government of the day. The real God we are looking for is the government, the type of government you have. If you have a bad government, that is your God. You deserve it. If you have a good government, that is your God, as I've said before. The God we have today is what we deserve because of the way we have seen someone that lost the election, for instance, in 2023, presidential election. What did we do? We kept calm. What did we do? We see our politicians misbehaving because these politicians we see misbehaving, they are the gods. So our politicians, they are the gods. Our government is the God. What have we done to make sure that our government follows the right path? You know, in one of his essays or one of his books, the name of the book is The Trouble with Nigeria. He says, that's the first sentence in the book, he says that the trouble with Nigeria simply and squarely is a failure of leadership. The trouble with Nigeria, simply and squarely, is a failure of leadership. So the trouble with African states is a failure of leadership. Many of our governments have failed at different levels, national, states, and local. Our governments have failed. So because our governments have failed, the masses don't have the option, any other option but to look at God. Or rather, the masses think that they don't have another option. But that is wrong. The masses have options, one of which has to do with doing something revolutionary. Something that was done in France, seriously speaking, in 1789, French Revolution. Something that was done in England. People don't remember that there was a revolution in England. Yes, during the Renaissance period, there was a revolution in England, during which Charles I was beheaded. Oliver Cromwell, John Milton, and others led the revolution against they were called the Puritans. Yes, Puritan Revolution or English Revolution. The Puritans led the revolution against the government. Today, the King of England or the Queen of England reigns without ruling. That is, at the end of that revolution in England, absolute monarchy ended. Today, what they have in England is constitutional monarchy. In our own case, what are we doing? We are just of creed, staples of what's it called? Tribalism. But that is the wrong thing. The educated ones should lead this movement. But the problem is how many are they? How many are the educated ones? And another problem is if you tell them, they'll be laughing at you. My friend once told me that if you are looking for something from the hand of government, you are a goat. That's what my friend told me. I was embarrassed. He was making me reference to my work as a civil servant, that I shouldn't have anything to do with civil service, that I should go into the field and work. But even if you go into the field and work one way or the other, the bad leadership in the government, in the society, will catch up with you. One way or the other, even if it doesn't catch up with you directly, it will catch up with you indirectly. One way or the other, your siblings, your cousins, your friends, your friends' friends will have to travel out, and some of them may die in the Mediterranean basin, or in the Sahara Desert, as we see happening all over the world. Africans being mistreated, Africans, paying the ultimate price in their attempt to run away from bad leadership in Nigeria. God himself cannot solve the problem. The only thing that will solve the problem is doing the needful, making for a revolution. Violent revolution. Yes, because we have it's not every revolution that is violent. Yes. By this revolution, I mean something that is positively radical, so as to save us from these political, intellectual, and social and economic doldrums we have found ourselves. So I'm telling us that the Messiah we have come, the Messiah Africans are waiting for, has come. The Messiah the Africans are waiting for, the Messiah has come. And that Messiah is in the mirror. If you go to the mirror, you see the Messiah. Dr. Agibe, I'll be concluding here. In conclusion, I'm saying that Africa has to look inwards. Africa has to look inwards. We have to go back to our roots. By our roots, I mean the positive aspects of our roots. I don't mean doing wrong things. I don't mean wasting blood. I mean hard work. For instance, hard work is part of the roots of the Igbo people. I am Igbo. An average Igbo person is a hard-working man. Hard work, integrity, sense. We must be extricated from these intellectual problems, social problems, from these economic problems, from this political quagmire that the white man has put us into. We need to make for a renaissance. We need to look inwards. I'll be stopping here for now. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Wow, that was a good one. Thank you so much. I really appreciate. That was so enlightening. We've been blessed by Professor Richard Nwokocha, my brother Chibuzo Diallo. Thank you. You said government is God. That's one thing I will say from your lecture, that government is God. That instead of Africans, Nigerians, to be looking up to a cosmic magisterium, they should look up to their government, because government is God. And Professor Richard did tell us to seek African spirituality, that African spirituality lies our moral code. We don't need to be gathering somewhere, paying tithes, paying offering, our money is collected, and still we are morally bankrupt. So at this point, I want to leave the floor open. I know we are about 5 minutes to 1. I try to keep this exactly 1 hour. I see a lot of people that have joined us. I really appreciate you guys from Nigeria. I really do. And we're going to be having these lectures, like I said, monthly. Every month I would send messages, a different topic, very, very nice topics you guys will like. And we'll have different people speak on it, so that way we can continue to encourage ourselves, because I believe that for you to even want to join this lecture, seeing what the title was, that why God cannot solve Africa's problems, when a lot of Nigerians are raised to believe what God cannot do does not exist, it means that you are bold, you are courageous. I see my very good brother Kenneth Igberase, all the way from Switzerland. We went to university together. He told me his story. Actually, his story is a deconversion story. He was really into religion. He was in deeper life more than 30 years. So I know, Kenneth. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Kenneth. So I welcome you, Kenneth, and I welcome all my brothers in Nigeria. So right now, we'll take questions for either my Professor Nwokocha, for me, or for my brother Chibuzo Diallo. If you wanted to ask a question generally, you can. But if you wanted to ask any of the specific speakers, if you don't mind, just indicate, so that way that speaker can respond. So any questions you have, I will first of all try to answer the question and leave it open for my other two supporting speakers to chip in one or two things regarding the questions that you've asked. So I believe we all know how to raise our hand. There is 3 dots by the side of the camera on your phone. If you would, tap on that to raise your hand, and then I will give you the floor to ask your question, so that way we can be organized. If I would, see anybody raise their hands, we will go from there. But until I see somebody raise their hand, or if you want to unmute, if maybe you can't find it, you can just go ahead and unmute your phone, and please tell us your name and your location, if it's Nigeria or you're here with me in Texas, or you are like my Deeper Life former pastor, a deconverted pastor, Pastor Kenneth Igberase from Switzerland. You can indicate. So please, you can just unmute your phone, ask questions, give us your name and location, and then we'll go from there. But before anybody will do that, I want to quickly, I don't know if my friend, former pastor Kenneth Igberase, if you wanted to greet our brothers and sisters, if you had anything to say regarding the topic, sir.
Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. Mr. Bright, Dr. Bright. Been a while. My name's Kenneth Igberase. I'm calling, or I'm joining the group from Switzerland. And I'm very, very, very happy being part of this group. And I have a lot to say. It might not be today, but I have a lot to say. And I would like to encourage everyone to join, because the era we are at the moment is the era of opening the mindset of our people, especially back home, not only back home, people that are here in Europe, they are the worst. I mean, our brothers and sisters that left Nigeria, that are now here in Europe, they are, should I use the word they people used to use, religious move. Although I was part of that, what is it called, religious movement, but I'm happy being part of my brother, Dr. Bright, and their brother. I've been following what other people will be saying here, and I really enjoy it, because not just saying, it is mind-opening, mind-blowing. I pray that we all continue with giving out these right words to our people, so that our people will understand the era we are, that this era is not the era of taking religion to how will I put it? Religion is just a fraud. Let me put it that way. Religion, but just like what my other professor said, religion is a fraud. So that's what I have for now. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, my former pastor Kenneth Igberase from Switzerland. I saw my brother there. My brother, you raised your hand. I give you the floor, my brother. If you don't mind, let us know your name and your location. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, thank you, everyone. My name.
I'm sorry, my brother. It seems you are muted. It seems you are still muted. We can't hear you, sir. Okay, you are not muted. Thank you, sir. Go ahead, please. My brother, please mute your phone. Please mute your phone. We can hear you. Please mute your phone. Guys, please mute your phones. Please mute your phones. No, no, my brother, not you asking the question. There is a brother behind. He has a white and gray curtain. White and gray curtain. Please mute your phone, sir.
What we should as individual, we should first of all strategize. We can't just say that we're going to fight the revolution without strategy. We must have a strategy how we live. And this strategy must be totally underground. Every individual Africa will strategize on how we take Africa back. Because I believe entire Africa are still being under colonial system. We're no free African state. And when as far as we're not free African state, we cannot blame our government. Because our government also, their hands are tied. They're still being controlled by outside forces. So I believe in what we should do. Not blaming religion. Like to me, I'm totally saying no to religious blame or to invasion of our people by the whites because we're invaded. We're not colonized. Being invaded is that if we're colonized, they will teach us some things, but we were totally invaded. In those days when we were in the primary school, if you don't go to church, they will flog you. If you don't speak English, they will flog you. Means you are being invaded. You are not doing it on your will to learn English language. You are being forced to learn the language by force. So what I have to contribute on this matter is this. Let us strategize more on grassroots. This strategy should be that those of us in academic section should know to understand and look a better educational system for our primary school. It cannot come from heaven. We don't pray for it to come. We should do it. We still advocate for basic second good educational system, then we move to the tertiary. If we strategize this, we start writing. Even if you don't go anywhere, it take a step. So Africa must take a step on positive action for African restoration. We don't need to blame anyone again about religion, the past kings, the ancient king. No. Of course, everybody knows that this foreign religion is a scam. Someone that just died right in 3 days are being honored by our ancestors who has been killed and commonly killed for the restoration of African dignity, but they were forgotten. And then someone who died and just raised in 3 days cannot be praised more than someone who sacrificed their life, his family. This is a terrible situation I get to see. So thank you everyone. That's my own point that let us strategize. Let us start taking action. Let us not let anyone. If government is doing bad, just say a little word, government you are doing bad. In any way you can do it. Thank you everyone. I don't know if I'm making any sense.
Yes, you made a lot of sense, my brother. Thank you. Take Africa back strategically. That's what you said. Plan to take Africa back strategically. Very good point. I leave the floor open. Anybody with any other questions, either for me or any of the speakers, my brother Chibuzo or Professor Nwokocha, anybody, any questions? Please, you can just unmute your phone and ask your question. But in the absence of asking questions, we'll be rounding up in another 4 minutes. So that way I know that I overshot my time by 10 minutes because I wanted to round up by 7 o'clock Nigerian time. So we have 3 more minutes. I want to appreciate all of us. And like I said, we are going to be having these lectures once a month. And we will be sending out a audio video of this meeting to our group. So that way you all can have access to it. You can listen to it. And maybe at that time, after listening to it, you will then have questions. And then, those questions can be posted on our platform. And those questions will be answered. At this point, I want to call my Dallas brother, King Med. I know you are probably listening to me. I want you to say something because in the African Renaissance community, you've done very well. You've always researched and sent us a lot of things. King Med, please, I want you to unmute your phone and greet the community. King Med. from Dallas, Texas. I don't know if you can hear me. I see you here with your phone muted. Can you say something, my brother, please? King Ben. I don't know if you're still here, but I see you online here if you can. And then, well, I will go back before King Ben comes. Let me quickly go back to our erudite prof, Professor Richard Wokocha, to say something, for a minute. And then I will have my brother Chibuzo to say something for a minute so we can round up. Prof, I don't know if you are still here. I see you online. If you can unmute, thank you, sir.
Yeah, I am. Yeah. If you can hear me. It's been a great privilege. I'm new in this community, and I think the last speaker said we do have a lot of work to do. His speech seemed to be telling us that time has gone faster than where we are. We need to start strategizing. I think it's true that we need to begin to do everything we can to enlighten ourselves. It's also true that this battle is not just left to us. We have forces, the colonial forces or imperial forces against which we are battling. So there will be need for discrete preparation, as he has suggested, strategizing and making sure that whatever we do is collective and goal-oriented. Thank you for this evening. I will appreciate any other privilege we have to gather again. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. So let me have.
You seem to be muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you, Prof. I'm always muted anytime you are speaking, so that way I don't get in the midst. Yes. So my brother Chibuzo, please say something to us.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. Greetings, house once again. I want to say that one of the ways of making that happen by way of this our discussion on this platform, that is, if we evangelize, if we go out, if we come around to if we talk about our problems, it's a beautiful way of addressing our problems. You understand? So I'm suggesting once again that this our direction should be held so as to get the information. The time is now. The time is right. It is 12 p.m. Alright, yes, it is 12 noon. Yes, but everyone has already woke up. It's only we Africans that are still asleep. Time for us to wake up. And for us to wake up, that's the slogan. If you wake up, wake others. Thank you very much. All right. Now.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, my brother. Thank you so much. We have several people trying to join in, but unfortunately we are 10 minutes after 7 Nigerian time, 11 minutes after 1 American time here. But we will continue to meet. I see my sister, Dr. Joy. Dr. Joy, please unmute your phone and talk to us. Thank you. Dr. Joy Kalu, that's my sister. Please go ahead. Joy, please unmute your phone and speak to us. Dr. Joy Kalu. Dr. Joy Kalu, please unmute your phone and speak to us.
Hi, this is Joy all the way from Houston, Texas. I just want to say thank you so much for this gathering. Thank you, Dr. Bright. Thank you for Professor Wokocha, Professor Chibuzo, and I really appreciate the last speaker that was saying that there's need for a strategy. I once heard that the best way to eat an elephant is always to chop it up in little bits. And I equate this gathering of like-minded people to the ideology of chopping up the elephant so you can eat it a little bit. And that is, in whatever circle you're in, you want to start sharing this ideology that we cannot just sit and pray without working. There's a Latin phrase that says ora et labora, meaning as you're praying, you're working hard to do the needful. There's a practicality to solving a problem. But the biggest way to solve a problem is recognizing that you have it. And like they say here, a problem named is half solved. So understanding that we have a problem back home in Africa, and that there's need for us to reform our minds and have strategies as to how to change the ideologies that we have right now is imperative. And that is why I like the way the last speaker was saying, we should be strategic in how we want to go about that. And that is enlightening your minds, reading, informing yourself so that you have tools that you need to be successful. People have been dragged into this dark space where we have to blame other people for our problems, not realizing we are our problems, and therefore we are the solution to our problem. So thank you so much, brothers. Thank you for inviting me, Dr. Bright. I appreciate this opportunity to listen to great minds like this. Thank you.
Thank you, my sister. That's Dr. Joy Kalu here from Houston, Texas. I want to appreciate everybody, my brothers, for joining us. And like I said, we're going to be holding these meetings once every month to educate our minds, to try to, strategically plan, because, we are behind. Africa is behind. And it is true Renaissance, enlightenment, just like it happened in Europe. That's my goal with this little community. And we would, we are small right now, but I know that we will be big. Again, like I said, this lecture is going to be posted to our platform, so that way you all can listen. And if you do have any questions after listening, you can always post your questions in the forum, and I'll be sure to respond to you. I sincerely appreciate everybody for coming. My brother Chibuzo, my brother Professor Richard Nwokocha, everybody that tuned in. I really appreciate you guys from Nigeria. We will continue to do the best we can to enlighten our people. Thank you so much. So we're going to end the session this time, and then we're going to have another session come next month. I would send the information out, and you can join in, and we'll be having great meetings. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Susan.